Richard Childress is exploring his legal options over the released NASCAR text messages. Brent Crews, he's headed up to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 2026. 2311 Racing has designated Michael Jordan as their designated representative during the trial. What exactly does that mean? Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. The NASCAR text messages, the NASCAR lawsuit, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And if it's up to Richard Childress, NASCAR is going to get a season 2. We're currently in the middle of season 1 right now. We had a bit of a spin-off series with Rick Ware Racing and Legacy Motor Club, but now we're back onto the main storyline here as we head to trial on Monday. I don't think people realize that it is very much close. We are under a week away from trial at this point. But Richard Childress, yeah, he's potentially looking at maybe extending NASCAR to a season 2 because of the text messages that came out. If you missed them, there's been 2 rounds of them for poor RC here. The first one was from NASCAR president Steve Phelps, who said that Richard Childress needed to be taken out back and flogged, called him a stupid redneck, called him an idiot, called him a total ass clown as well. Then, of course, there was the text message from Spire Motorsports co-owner Jeff Dickerson, who called Richard Childress a cuck. And hey, listen, in my last video, I talked about it, and I said calling somebody a cuck is always funny. I don't know. There's just something funny about it because it's kind of a preposterous statement to make there. Do I think Richard Childress is? No, absolutely not. I just think it was a funny line that was thrown out there, but that didn't stop the internet from calling me a bit of a soy boy because I wasn't on RC's side, or I'm not necessarily a Richard Childress fan. So I went ahead and decided to crack a cold one because that's what this lawsuit needs, and it's not a Bud Heavy. Sorry to disappoint out there. I'm going to be a typical soy boy and drink some sparkling water here real quick, because that's what they do apparently. I just find being called a soy boy very, very funny. It cracks me up, actually. Facebook commenters were just going in. Is what Richard Childress has built in his career impressive? Hell yeah, it is. Like, congrats to him. He built a team. He got 2 generational talents to help, put RCR where it's at currently. He's been able to build off of that, and he's amassed like $250 million in his career. So what his net worth is, somewhere around that range. Hell yeah, congrats to Richard Childress here. I'm just not a huge RC guy. Like, just is what it is. I don't even like RC boats, planes, or cars that much either. I just would rather have the real thing when it comes down to it. But for Richard Childress, he's not happy about the text messages that came out, and it's understandable, right? But he is apparently going to pursue legal action, or at least is exploring it. On Monday, Richard Childress, and along with RCR, put out a statement which reads, RCR and Richard Childress are deeply disappointed by the insensitive and defamatory statements made about Mr. Childress in recently surfaced text messages between NASCAR executives Steve Phelps and Brian Herbst. These comments reflect the way certain NASCAR executives have historically viewed and treated many team owners like Mr. Childress, who have devoted their lives to strengthening the sport for its fans, its sponsors, and all who compete in it. RCR and Richard Childress are equally disappointed for the NASCAR fans, with whom Mr. Childress closely identifies given his humble and hardworking background. Mr. Childress and the organization will issue no further statements regarding these or other defamatory text messages that have been recently surfaced, as legal action is being contemplated and discussed with legal counsel. So they're looking to see if there's any sort of legal recourse for what they believe is defamation in this, instance here. I think it's worth noting a couple of things real quick. One, these text messages would not have come out if it was not for the discovery period, and I believe there might be some protections over that as well. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. The other thing, defamatory. Let's talk about that real quick. Idiot. Nope, go ahead and throw that one out. You can call people an idiot all you want. Total ass clown. Again, not really sure if there's any standing there. And then calling him a redneck, saying that he needed to be flogged. Again, I don't think anything there is defamatory, in my opinion. Is there a lawyer out there that will take this case? Yeah, probably. Like, there's a lawyer out there that will take any sort of case you could possibly ever want. For me, I think this is more of just RC being pissed, which I completely understand that. I understand why fans are mad. I understand why Richard Childress is mad. I get it. I 100% do. For me, I don't take many words personally. Like, read the comment section sometimes on any of my social videos or on here. Yeah, people suck. Like, people are rude. Like, just is what it is. I've learned to not let it bother me. I think for Richard here, I think that he's more mad about the generalizations that have been made about not only he, but maybe NASCAR fans as well. And I understand that. I understand why the fans are mad. Fans, identify with that redneck sort of persona that comes along with being a NASCAR fan. Having somebody from, apparently appears to be from NASCAR, say that, like, the NASCAR fans can't read, or half of them can't read. Again, like, I don't love to see that either, because at the end of the day, I'm a fan of this sport as well. I can read, got a whole bookshelf back here. Like that part kind of, does annoy me as well too, because I hate the generalization. I hate how everybody gets put into one pile here. And I hate the fact that the redneck stereotype continually, gets pushed by media, people outside the sport, because while you can have the redneck aspects of the sport, yeah, I want to see people in the infield at Talladega, wherever, drinking Bud Heavies, having a great time, waving their driver down the front stretch from the grandstand while holding up the number 3, even though it's a directional racetrack. I like seeing that. Is it ridiculous? Yes, but it's part of what makes NASCAR NASCAR. At the same time, this isn't just some old boy redneck sport anymore. The engineering in the sport is wildly impressive. The car is very impressive, despite what people say about it not being good. I understand the faults in it, but it is still an impressive race car on top of that. Our drivers are athletes. They're working their asses off to be better and better each and every week. And I wish more people understood and saw that. So I can understand the frustration behind this. Do I think NASCAR, executives think that all fans are rednecks, that all fans can't read, things like that? No, I don't think so. I've been around enough over the last couple of years talking to people in and out of the garage area. I've got a pretty good understanding, I feel like, of how, people are perceived here. I don't think that they all do. Are there bad apples? Sure, there's going to be bad apples everywhere, right? Like that's what happens here. But for Richard, I understand him being pissed. I understand him not being happy. I get all of that, right? Ultimately, if he wasn't 80 years old, would we have a hold my watch type of moment? I don't think so. But I think that, him putting out a statement, him being pissed, all makes sense. I can understand that, right? Like if I was at the center of text messages being called a total ass clown, a complete redneck saying that I needed to be flogged and stuff, like, yeah, I'd be mad too. I wonder if Breakheart is in the NASCAR text messages, that would be phenomenal. I'd get it framed, honestly. I'd put it right above the television there because I think that would be a very fun thing to have. But ultimately, Richard Childress not happy about the text messages, and I think we can all probably understand that. So we'll see what goes forward here. We'll see if NASCAR gets a season 2. Ultimately, I'm not sure if it'll go forward. I know people keep referencing John Gruden versus the NFL. In the realm of cases, there's similarities, but there's still different type of cases here. So I'm not sure if I would really necessarily look at that one here. I think that RC, can bring this up, like a defamation type of lawsuit. I'm just not sure if it's going to hold as much weight as maybe they would want it to. But we'll wait and see how all of that comes out. Joe Gibbs Racing announced on Monday that 17-year-old, soon to be 18-year-old in March, Brent Crews will be moving up to the NASCAR Raleigh Auto Parts Series next year, taking over the number 19 car for 29 of their 33 races. He won't turn 18 until the end of March, meaning that the first 7 races of the year, he will have to miss 4 of those. Obviously, that's why he's starting 29 of the 33 races. So he'll be able to race 3 of them because remember, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, NASCAR changed the age eligibility rules for that going into 2026. Now 17-year-olds are able to make starts on tracks under 1.25 miles and on road courses as well. And for Brent Crews here, he lucks out because the 3rd race of the year is at Circuit of the Americas. He'll also be able to race at Phoenix and Martinsville as well because both of those are under 1.25 miles. He will miss races at Daytona, Atlanta, Las Vegas, and at Darlington. So I'm not sure what the playoff is going to look like next year, what the championship format is going to look like. If it's going to be a win and you're in type of scenario, I would expect him to get an eligibility waiver because we've seen them do that in the past before. But Brent Crews is the next great Toyota prospect. He is a guy that Toyota highly believes in. Like, he is their next big thing. He, in 10 truck starts this year, has 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 17 ARCA starts in his career, 6 wins, 11 top 5s, 19 Cars Tour late model stock starts. He's got 3 wins in that series, 36 total Trans Am starts. He's got 11 wins in that series. He's also won multiple times in a dirt midget. The kid is very competitive in every type of car he gets in. Think of him as the Toyota version of a Connor Zilic. Like, that is probably the best comparison I can make for him here. He is a kid that has gotten a ton of seat time for how young he is, and he's a kid that is probably going to be around a really long time. He's developed at a really great rate. He's got a level of maturity to him that we typically don't see out of a 16, 17-year-old coming up through the ranks so far. He's got a pretty good head on him. I think Brent Crews has a long future ahead of him in this sport for sure. And making that move up to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, I think, is probably the best move for him for next year. I understand people are going to say, why doesn't Corey Heim get this opportunity? We've talked about this multiple times. There's clearly a reason that he's not at Joe Gibbs Racing, right? Like, he and Ty Gibbs certainly don't see eye to eye. They're not going to put him there. Toyota really believes in Brent Crews. They really believe in Corey Heim. Corey Heim's path to the Cup Series leads to 2311 Racing. They just have to figure all of that out going into 2027, or, there's maybe the opportunity that they can end up losing him, right? I do think that Corey Heim was shopped around for the 2026 season to see if somebody wanted to put him in their car, but ultimately that ended up not happening. For Brent Crews, I think this is a really good move for them. For Toyota, it's not an embarrassment of riches, but like in terms of prospects, Toyota has some of the best ones out there right now. Chevy and Toyota continue to develop their prospects. Ford is over there doing what Ford does. Now, Ford will continue to exist in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series next year. Sigma Performance Services did purchase AM Racing. That was announced on Monday. Kind of knew all of that was coming. They'll continue to be a Ford factory program in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, but in terms of the Ford pipeline, yeah, it is dry. There is not a thing going on over there at Ford, which you can make an argument either direction there. I understand the way they want to do things, but yeah, it doesn't always work out the best for him. But for Brent Crews, I think this is a really good move for him. I think it's a great move for Joe Gibbs Racing. And for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, pretty good field next year. Excited to see what all these kids can do. We are under a week away. December 1st, Monday, we'll start the NASCAR Antitrust trial. And we learned this week, as we're going through some of the procedural stuff before the Thanksgiving holiday and before December 1st rolls around to start this trial off, who the designated representatives will be for both sides. 2311 Racing Front Row Motorsports have argued that all three of their owners at 2311 Racing, that being Michael Jordan, Curtis Polk, and Denny Hamlin, should all be allowed to be present during the trial. NASCAR says, no, that's not going to happen. 2311 Racing has instead designated Michael Jordan as their designated representative. Why Michael Jordan? Well, because Jeffrey Kessler wants to make sure that the jury, made up of people from North Carolina, see Michael Jordan, a North Carolina legend, every single day of this trial. I'm not saying it's intimidation. I am saying that he would like them to remember who exactly they are talking about in this trial. And Michael Jordan is certainly the biggest name that you can possibly get out there. I mean, think about sports, think about pop culture people, think about anything. Michael Jordan's name resonates with everybody. Every single person knows who Michael Jordan is. And seeing him in person can certainly be awe-striking, right? Like striking, awe-striking. Doesn't matter. Who cares? But that is why Jeffrey Kessler would like Michael Jordan to be there. Now, we'll see from the NASCAR standpoint who they decide to make their designated representative. When I recorded this, I didn't see who it was quite yet. But this trial is certainly shaping up to be something. We didn't think it was going to make it here. I never thought that we would make it here. Then I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to make it there. Then I was like, oh, no, they're going to settle. Remember a couple weeks ago, we thought they were pretty close to settling before the championship finale in Phoenix. That ended up not happening, and I don't think it's going to happen this week, right? I mean, we are a day and a half away from Thanksgiving. I don't think people are going to be doing anything there. Then this weekend, I think this is going to trial. It's going to start on December 1st. Does it make it all the way to completion? Does it go to a jury for a decision without a settlement? I don't know about that, but I know there's a lot of, pissed off people on all sides of the aisle here. And as Judge Kenneth Bell said, if this goes to trial, the sport will look remarkably different in 2026. Now, of course, this is probably still going to go to an appeals court and everything, regardless of who wins coming out of it, assuming there's no settlement. But yeah, it is certainly something right now. And Daytona garage area in February is going to be real awkward because there are messages about people between other people and just a lot of people that probably aren't going to get along as well as they used to here. But yeah, Michael Jordan is the designated representative for 2311 Racing. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Richard Childress potentially pursuing legal action and the ongoing NASCAR text messages that keep coming out. Brent Crews going to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2026. Michael Jordan being the designated representative for 2311 Racing in their trial with NASCAR. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.